Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of VMI Baseball, and that, of course, would be Jonathan Hadra. How's it going, Coach?
Doing great, Casey. Doing great. Trying to get the guys ready for this weekend. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Let's talk about what practice has been like the last few weeks, getting ready for the season. What has it been like for you guys?
It's been creative solutions, coming up with creative solutions on how to get on the field. We've been hammered with weather recently. We're a little too far north to get, we still get that snow. We're not south far enough, to avoid it. So we don't have an indoor. So trying to get on the field has been the challenge. Today will be day 5 for us. So, but just using our facilities that we have access to, whether it's the weight room or a practice turf field or the parking lot. Just got to get creative with how we've been able to get our guys out there.
So let's take me around the diamond. Tell everybody who's going to be out there for you guys.
Probably gonna start with Cole Garrett behind the plate. He's returning sophomore for us. Had a really good year last year at playing a lot as an everyday freshman. Moving over to third is going to be Ty Swain, who again played a lot last year as a true freshman. Probably had about 150, 160 at-bats last year. And then moving over to shortstop is going to be our returning guy, Zach Morris, who's a redshirt sophomore. He was an honorable mention all conference guy last year. Zach had a really good year last year. Hit 290 and played a really solid defense. And then moving over second base is going to be Brett Cook. Brett didn't play a whole lot for us last year as a true freshman. So he's a true sophomore. But Brett's had a really good offensive year, fall and spring for us. And then, moving over to first base, right now it's going to be Justin Stark, who had an incredible year for us. He's the returning freshman of the year in the Southern Conference. But we're going to use Starkey all over the field. I mean, he's athletic enough to be able to move him around. We're going to put him in the outfield. We're also going to catch him when Cole needs a day off. And then moving over to left, we'll go Will Knight, who's returning as a fifth yearman. Will's returning to us after having a really solid year last year. He's basically played in our lineup for the past 3 years every day. Just a really good college hitter. And then Trey Morgan's going to be in center field. Trey's a two-way guy for us, left-handed pitcher. Again, he was an all-freshman Southern Conference selection last year after hitting 326 as a freshman. But then he's also going to pitch on the mound. He's going to probably just be kind of a swing guy, spot start, bullpen type guy. That'll probably be his role on the mound. And then in right field, it will be Cole Jenkins, who is another true sophomore. Had a pretty solid year last year as a freshman, about 65 at-bats or so. But he's had a tremendous fall and a really good preseason so far. So, and then DH is going to be whoever swinging to the best at the time. So Ryan Peterson's a freshman for us that had a tremendous fall. He's a left-handed hitter. We don't have a ton of left-handed hitters going to be in our lineup. So Petey is extremely valuable from that standpoint. And he's going to get some at-bats there. So Addison Clark is another freshman right-handed hitter that brings some strength and some power to our lineup. And I could see Addison being a guy that gets some at-bats as a designated hitter as well.
All right. So let's talk about the pitching staff. I don't know if you mentioned a little bit of it, but overall, what's that going to look like?
Yeah, it's going to be, first of all, we have the majority of our arms back from last year. A big loss is losing Jake Menders, but he graduated. And Mindy had an incredible year for us last year. But one of the awesome surprises from last year's staff was just the development of Tyler Brott. Tyler was a guy that 2 years ago during the COVID season, as a true freshman, pitched out of the bullpen for us. He got one start against UNC, and then it was shut down. The season was shut down. And then last year, going into the year, kind of a similar role as far as a bullpen guy. And we started him against Mercer on a Sunday, or a game 3. It was actually game 2 of the doubleheader, excuse me. and he threw a complete game shutout, and he hasn't been out of the rotation since. And Tyler's made another jump, and he's had a great fall. So he's going to throw Friday for us. And then we've got Nathan Light returning, who's pitched a lot of innings for us over the course of the past 3 years. And then on Sunday, probably going to start Trey Morgan, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there, see how some of these young arms can kind of develop. We've got a lot of young arms that we really like a lot. We like Holden Wilkerson a lot. He's a true freshman. Tyler Kaltwriter's a true freshman right-handed pitcher. Jackson Lloyd is a true freshman left-handed pitcher that can just really pitch. He's got a tremendous amount of feel for 4 pitches. So that we're going to ask a lot out of those guys, and then just some of the older guys, like Ty Barker, Adam Jewell, some of these guys that are older for us that have thrown a lot for us. They're going to be asked to throw important innings.
All right. Taking a look at the conference, where do you think you guys are at in terms of that? And in terms of strength, where do you think it's at in terms of baseball in the Southern Conference?
Well, Casey, the Southern Conference is an incredible mid-major league. If I'm not mistaken, pretty sure it was top 10 in RPI going into the conference tournaments last year. The parity in the league is incredible. There's not too much difference between the top and the bottom. I think anybody can beat anybody on any weekend in our league. But in order to win it, you got to go through the champion, and that's Wofford. Wofford won the regular season last year. Todd does a tremendous job down there with his guys. They're very, very difficult to prepare for, to compete against, because they're super athletic up and down the lineup, put a lot of pressure on you defensively. And their pitchers just do a tremendous job of being able to command multiple pitches in the strike zone while holding the running game. So they do a tremendous job, but then, it's going to be the usual suspects. Mercer is always good. Gibby does a tremendous job. Sanford, I know Sanford lost a lot, through the portal. But that program's got some tradition of winning. They know how to win, and they got guys back in the program that know how to win. So they're going to be strong as always. But Western Carolina is going to be able to swing it. I think UNCG is one of the best coached teams in our league. Citadel is always super competitive, especially when it comes to our series, because just two, very similar programs as far as the type of an experience that our athletes have to go through. So there kind of comes a natural rivalry with that. And then ETSU, I think, man, they are really good on that mound. They're really deep, and they play really good fundamental baseball. So I think all in all, it's a strong league. I love our chances, though. I love our guys. Our guys love to compete, and they understand kind of what's up against them. I think an interesting point, though, is there's only 7 guys in our program right now that have played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is kind of crazy to think about, because our juniors were freshmen when COVID hit. So they didn't play an entire year that year. And then last year we played Friday and we played a doubleheader on Saturday, which with that is a certain challenge in and of itself. So there's going to be, we talked about it this past weekend about understanding that there's a difference between playing 2 days in a row versus 3 days in a row. That body has a chance to get sore, going into day 3. You got to be able to lock in and be your competitive best on Sunday. So, and that's what traditionally I think you see teams that have won championships and have competed at high levels, that they can consistently show up and compete on Sunday. So that's what, we're going to figure that out as a program.
Let's talk about what do you need to do to get to where you need to go, like to get up to, the goals for this year? What I know it's an easy question, but it's
that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
I think it starts with consistently just being able to post every single day. And I know that sounds easy, but it's not. I mean, it's a long season. Um, and it can be a mental grind at times, and you've got to be able to kind of be able to show up to the field every day ready to compete. Um, I think the thing for us to really take the next step forward this year, I think a strength of our program is going to be our lineup. I think our lineup has a chance um, to be okay, to be pretty good. As far as, after that, I mean, we're going to need some guys to step up and to fill some of those important roles off of the bench. Who's going to be the right-handed hitter off the bench when we need one late in the game? Who's going to be the left-handed hitter off the bench late in the game? I already know who our defensive, replacement pinch runner is going to be. It's going to be Justin Nays, because he's a tremendous defender, a plus defender in center field. He's a plus runner. That's going to be his predominant role. I mean, he'll definitely get some starts in there as well, but that role right there is so important because he's playing innings late in the game when they matter. I mean, he's playing when the game is on the line. So you got to have a lot of confidence in those guys. And quite honestly, those are some of the question marks I have from an offensive standpoint, is who are going to be the guys to step up and fill those roles. Because I think the top, 10 or 11 guys in our lineup is pretty solidified for the most part. Now, things change, injuries happen. We all know that, right? So that could all go sideways. But right now, that's kind of where we're at. And then on the mound, we're going to rely a lot on true freshmen to pitch some important innings, which is okay. It's all about development, and there's no better way to develop than get them out there. And we believe wholeheartedly in them as young men and as competitors. So we're going to help them grow and teach them and throw them to the fire and, let them figure it out. So no better way than through just getting, on the field and competing between the white lines.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on and talking about some VMI baseball, and good luck this season.
Thanks a lot, Casey.